Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone, to the HalloTeam episode, the Halloween-themed episode. We are going to have some fun. I'm your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall.
What did you call that? The HalloTeam episode.
Yeah, and
True.
Michael Reed. We already talked about it. It's cheesy.
Kyle, get out.
I'll escort myself out.
Get out of here. Log off.
Look, we have a great episode here for you guys. At the later end of the episode, we're actually going to have like an NFL type of trivia game set up for you to kind of spice things up to end things off. And then we're going to have kind of a Halloween themed discussion in the midpoint, kind of talking our favorite Halloween movies that you guys should check out over the weekend for Halloween. And then also, we have a fun little exercise that we're going to do where for Washington football team players, what we think they would dress up as a costume for a Halloween party based on their play on the field. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, fellas. But that being said, in regards to me having to get out because of the title of the episode, Dwayne Haskins, his agent, came out and said that Dwayne wants to get out. He wants to be traded if there's no end in sight here with the Washington football team. Hall, do you think it's going to happen?
uh,
Per Jeremy Fowler.
yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I go back and forth with it. I mean, I think it'll happen eventually, but whether it happens before when's the trade deadline? Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So yeah, but whether it happens before Tuesday, I'll probably go 51% no, it doesn't happen before Tuesday, but I definitely think it'll happen sometime in the off season, sometime like maybe leading up to the draft or during the draft. But yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, it's the best thing for both sides. Obviously, no one wants to keep getting asked every other week or every single week about, oh, what's Dwayne's status? What about Dwayne? What's Dwayne doing? He's always the leading story on 1067, or they always talk about him for whatever reason on 1067. And whenever you have those celebrity second string, third string backup quarterbacks, it's always the best to just kind of part ways and everyone just do their own thing. So I definitely think if not now, then later.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to happen by Tuesday, to be perfectly honest, because, if you're Dwayne Haskins' agent, most likely a trade is not going to get done by Tuesday if one's available. Like, and the one aspect of this that's kind of like troubling to me, it's like his agent's trying to tell the Washington football team, just get it done. It doesn't matter what you get back. Just get it done. Get us out of here. No, wait, I'm trying to get some value out of return here. Now, if you want to ask for a release, that's different. I would go down that avenue, possibly going down, but I don't think that that's going to possibly happen. They want to keep Dwayne here, so Dwayne's trying to force himself out, and I just don't think it's going to happen. What about you, Reed?
Yeah, I don't think that it happens during the trade deadline. I know that they're going to push for it and they're going to push hard, and I don't blame them really, but it's not going to happen. There's just too many teams are too smart. They know that if he's not going to be traded, then he's just going to be released, and they're going to have an opportunity to try to sign him. So I think if anything, he would be traded during the offseason, maybe. If not, if he maybe he'll request his release, and they'll do that at the end of the year. But he's not going to get traded before the deadline. I see him staying in Ron's purgatory for a little bit longer. So, yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, they want to see this kid work hard, and I feel like that's what essentially they're trying to do is, like, come on, Haskins, just stay here and work hard. Now, speaking of 1067 and the Junkies, Hall, they had a hypothetical this morning that they were discussing, and their reaction was, in a heartbeat, they would trade Dwayne Haskins for Sam Darnold straight up. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think that would ever be proposed because it's just a ridiculous trade. But I'm right there with them. I would do that in a heartbeat because I do think Sam Darnold is a better quarterback at this point. What about you, Hall?
That sounds like a trade you do on like Madden to like your little. You do it to your little brother that has no idea what's going on. You're just like, yeah, man, it'll work out. But now, yeah, I mean, obviously, look, I watched Sam Darnold in college. I mean, I know he flashed like his first year and then kind of like went down and down as a starter, but the potential's there. Great arm. He's mobile in the pocket, accurate quarterback. Obviously, the Jets are a dumpster fire, so it's kind of halting all of his abilities, if you want to call it that. And well, Adam Gase is really the one halting his ability. I won't even say the Jets are a dumpster fire. It's really just Adam Gase. But but nah, I mean, obviously, like I would do that in like a blink of an eye, like half of a blink of an eye. But I mean, this is like real life and not fancy land, but I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I would do that in a heartbeat. I think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback, and I think you're right. Adam Gase, there is a constant here, obviously with Ryan Tannehill going to Tennessee and you kind of seeing him develop there. It kind of shows you that Adam Gase maybe has a hard time developing quarterbacks, and that would bring down Sam Darnold's value a little bit. I just don't think that they're equatable. You know what I mean in value. So if the Jets did it, sure. If they're dumb enough to do that,
Right.
last I checked, Bill O'Brien was not the general manager of the Jets, so I'm not sure if that's going to go down. What about you, Reed?
I don't even understand why that's a question. Of course you would in a heartbeat, but like you said, it's not going to happen. Sam Darnold was somebody I was super high on when he came out. That was like when I first actually started evaluating quarterbacks, was around that year. I remember evaluating all them and actually being shocked that Baker Mayfield went number one. I know Baker Mayfield was more accurate in college, but Sam Darnold to me was just such a good playmaker behind the line of scrimmage. Like he could just make something out of nothing, even though he wasn't the most athletic guy. And you still see flashes of that in New York. It's just New York is so bad that he hasn't had any weapons. He hadn't had an offensive line. I mean, he has Jamison Crowder to throw to. Herndon was good for half of the season. Mekhi Becton's on the come up. But if you put Sam Darnold on an actual team, on a decent team, that's why I feel like if he went to somewhere like the Colts this offseason,
Right,
he could be a very good quarterback. I think he still could. He could be with us. That would be a complete and utter steal, and
Right.
we would be stupid not to take that trade, but that trade will never happen. But yeah, I mean, no matter, and you do kind of gotta feel bad for the Jets because no matter what, like even if they get the number one pick, the other day Trevor Lawrence was saying that, yeah, I mean, right now I'm leaning towards coming out, but we'll see what happens. And I think underlying what he was saying is, yeah, I'll come out, but if the Jets get the number one pick, no, I'm staying. No chance.
I think that
I don't really think that's what it was, but because Chase Young said something similar last year, but I think that the Jets would even ruin Trevor Lawrence. So what does that tell you? Like they're so bad. They're so
yeah, no, I think that was more of like, if you don't fire Adam Gase, then I'll just return to college type thing.
No, yeah,
that
I
would
think
make a lot of sense.
I mean, if you think about it, like I said, Chase Young said the same thing last year, and everybody got up in arms, like, "Oh no, he might return." Like the best player, the supposed best.
I feel like this happens every year though.
Yeah,
There's always some
exactly.
guy who says this, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, is this?"
They're not going to come right out. And why would his teammates want to play for him if he was like, "Yeah, just so you guys know, I'm gone." They'd be like, "Oh, you don't care about us? All right, cool. You're just going after the paycheck."
Right.
Which we all are.
The next thing of discussion I wanted to talk about, Jason Wright made an appearance on Ben Standig's new podcast, The Standig Room, and he talked about the new stadium. And the one quote he said was, "It's not a year process. They can't just recharge a year and have a new stadium up and ready. You know, it's going to take time, and if they want to have something in place by 2027 ready for football games, they got to kickstart it now. It takes that much time." And the one quote he said was, even if that takes rebuilding FedEx. What is your guys' opinion of that? Would you hate that idea?
Of rebuilding FedEx?
Mm-hmm.
If they did it right, I would love it. I mean, FedEx, in my opinion, is the worst stadium in sports, at least that I've been to. I mean, I just don't like it. I don't like the whole parking aspect. I don't like the seating. I don't like the concession. I don't like anything about it. The field's terrible by all accounts. So if they could rebuild it and do something cool, which obviously they would because they would want to be able to compete with these new stadiums that are coming out, then I would be all for it. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, that's definitely more than a 1-year process, even if they were to go build one somewhere else. If they rebuild FedEx, it's longer. If they go somewhere else, it's longer. You got to get permits. You got to do all sorts of stuff. It's going to take a long time to get a new stadium. But I would be okay with them if they completely tore down FedEx and just completely restarted over from the ground up. I'd be all right with it.
Yeah, I've talked about this with Hall before. I wouldn't like it. I'm gonna be honest with you because the
area.
The one aspect of football stadiums is they're supposed to have this kind of mystique about them, this aura. About them, and with
unique field
with RFK, being right next to the Capitol, being on the Anacostia, it kind of has that feel. And I went up when I was in my younger days. I worked for Noodles Company. I went up to Penn State. And I remember I got lost on the highway, and I came back on the highway one time to make a U-turn. And as I came over this hill, you could see Penn State Stadium
100%
just sitting on top of the hill with the lights on. And I was like,
same thing with when you're driving into Baltimore. You can see M&T Bank, you can see Camden
and you're like, oh man, like wow, that's cool. I would love to be in there. You don't kind of have that feeling with FedEx, and that's why I would kind of rather it go to a location that could kind of build that aura. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, again, this is something I'm kind of like 50-50 split on, just because if they do rebuild FedEx, like obviously that suits me because I live in Maryland. It's just a metro trip away. But at the same time, it's just like you said, it's kind of like I just want to be kind of done with that whole area, going to a better new place. Again, I'm like a lot of the fan base where we're the Washington, I guess, football team now. So I'd rather have the stadium, like actually in Washington, D.C. And obviously the only place that could happen at is if they tear down RFK and kind of redo that whole area, which I would love to see. But yeah, I mean, if it came down to it and it was either move the stadium to Virginia or rebuild FedEx, obviously I would probably go with just rebuild FedEx, and hopefully they would, like Reed said, kind of make it like a unique kind of like nice experience and like one of these new age stadiums, kind of like a SoFi stadium like the Rams have. And yeah, just make everything 100% better, parking wise, area wise, how to like concessions wise, all that stuff. So yeah, my number one choice is definitely to rebuild like RFK and rebuild that area. But if I had to choose a number two, I'd choose Maryland and FedEx over having to go to Virginia for games.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree with you. Now, controversy came about last night. Jordan Reed, who, not the Jordan Reed that used to play for the Washington football team, Jordan Reed, the kind of NFL reporter, he works for the Draft Network.
Jason Reed?
Oh, is it? No, it's Jordan Reed.
Is it Jordan Reed?
Yeah, he always gets mixed up and tagged on Twitter because people think it's Jordan Reed from the Washington football team.
Was it REID?
Yeah, and he said last night that Terry McLaurin is not a star. I want to get your guys' opinion on that because that really triggered some people last night and this morning. I saw a lot of people responding. Hall, what do you feel about that?
I mean, I just feel like he hasn't watched any Washington football team games, because if you watch one person on the offense, he's the one person that stands out on the offense, and he's been standing out since his rookie year. If you go back and watch the tape against the Patriots last year, him going against Stephon Gilmore, the reigning defensive player of the year, he was getting in his ass on almost every single route. Obviously, he wasn't targeted a lot that game because it's Stephon Gilmore. You're not going to really look his way a lot. But had they been looking his way, they would have saw that Terry McLaurin was open a hell of a lot of times. Guys like Darius Slay, who's one of the top cornerbacks in the league, have said the toughest guys I went up against last year are Devontae Adams, who I see twice a year, and none other than my man Scary Terry. So I don't know. Even like the stuff that the reasons why he was saying, and it was kind of just like
those are those are stupid.
No, you're just like trying to get not even clickbait because it's Twitter. You're just trying to get
the only reason
tweet bait. The
only reason he has numbers is because he's the only player on that offense, so they have to target him. It's like, okay, what do you think DeAndre Hopkins did back in the day? He was the only
and that also makes no sense because he's clearly the best player on the team, and he's still putting up numbers.
He's that much better than
the defense has to key in on him, so
and
he's still putting up numbers.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And the whole thing was just so ridiculous. Like, I understand, is he Julio Jones? Is he what Antonio Brown used to be? Is he DeAndre Hopkins? Is he one of those guys? No, not right now, but he will be. I would imagine he's on that trajectory. He's just that good of a player, like you said. Ask any defensive player that's went up against him. Ask any cornerback. They will let you know that Terry McLaurin is legit. This guy's going to be very good in this league, and he will be for a long time. And that's why the players in the locker room respect him as well. That's why, even though Terry's not a vocal guy, the players in the locker room are starting to force him to come out of his shell a little bit and be more of a leader, because they're like, look, you're that goddamn good. You are so good that you should be the leader of the team, because people look at you, they automatically respect you.
Yeah.
So it's just stupid. He's trying to get clicks. He was trying to get into it with Washington fans, and it's obnoxious, but let that dude have his opinion. He sucks.
I don't think that he was trying to get clickbait. I think he honestly believed that. But what happened he was thinking that Terry McLaurin is not your prototypical wide receiver, the build, the height, the kind of broad
Michael Thomas.
Right. He's not Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson, those types.
Right.
He's more
not
like
a lot are, though.
But at the same time, Odell Beckham was considered the biggest star at the position.
And look at Antonio Brown at his size. But that's where I felt like he was going with it, and that's completely false. Terry McLaurin is absolutely a star. Given that he's played with 6 quarterbacks in these 2 seasons is ridiculous. 6 different quarterbacks in this time, and he's still on pace for over 1,000 receiving yards this season.
He's number 6 in the NFL in receiving yards right now.
And he was just down last season. You know how I know Terry McLaurin's a star? That dude said in the offseason he worked on his yards after the catch. He wanted to make that a point of emphasis.
Look at what it's doing.
He's leading the NFL.
Among wide
Like,
receivers, he's
the
second
dude-
in the NFL behind Alvin Kamara.
the
But
dude-
yeah, among wide receivers,
The
It's
dude
just
balled
targets,
out.
man. It's just targets on the bad team. What do you mean?
Right, the dude
Right,
balled out
yeah.
last season, and he was like, you know what? The one facet of my game I want to work on is getting yards after the catch. And then he goes and excels at it, the best in the league. The dude is absolutely a
That
star.
is what you call GOAT mentality right there.
right. And if he's gonna say that, then he's got to make the exact same argument against Isaac Bruce, Marvin Harrison, all these Antonio Brown, like you
Good
said.
point.
And if you're gonna put some of these other wide receivers, I've seen him in the past, he's put over Terry McLaurin, like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. I understand they had good seasons, but if Terry McLaurin had Russell Wilson or Ryan Tannehill, who's playing out of his mind the last 2 seasons,
He would
throwing the
absolutely
ball,
say that.
I'm pretty sure that he would be up there
Mhm.
among the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL right now.
Also, on top of that, my bad.
No,
Right, AJ Brown didn't even really come on until after like week 7 or 8 last
Right.
year.
Yeah.
Whenever
Right.
Tannehill took over.
And that was when Tannehill took over.
Terry
Exactly.
McLaurin's been doing it with Case Keenum, who, although
Right.
not the greatest quarterback, he's not playing like Ryan Tannehill is right now. He was
No.
doing- he's doing it with Dwayne when everyone has been dogging Dwayne for this past year and a half. He's been doing it now with Kyle Allen, who obviously not has the strongest arm in the NFL.
All right.
I mean, come on, man. My man's a stud.
And you know what else? So Chris Cooley has said something very similar to that too, where he says he doesn't think Terry McLaurin is the number 1 wide receiver in
Yeah.
the NFL. He thinks he's a number 2.
And that's what I
just
think
stupid.
that Jordan Reed is basically saying. It's like that prototypical size and build is all he's
right.
saying.
And I get that, but
Right.
at the same time, you're wrong, and I hate you.
Oh, you're ridiculous. All right, guys. So let's get into the Halloween portion of the episode, okay? So let's talk about some Halloween movies. Look, Hall, I know you might not have a Halloween movie that you recently watched, but why don't we talk about a movie that you would really enjoy watching during Halloween?
I actually did watch. It wasn't like really recent. It was when I was in Maine, but it was on Amazon Prime. I just can't think of the movie off the top of my head, and it has subtitles in Spanish. But it's about this like chicken's Spain, like this little girl or whatever, and she's like kind of poor, and then like she gets possessed, and the devil's following her around. It's actually pretty good. Like
Those are
Oh,
the
wow.
scariest movies to me, by the
Yeah,
way.
it was pretty
Possession
crazy.
movies.
But I mean, as far as like the classics, obviously you can go with like the Jason movies, or Halloween movies. My personal favorites has always been the Friday the 13th movies, the Freddy movies. It's just always kind of just not really put like fear in me, but I just like the way they like when they dream and like, you know what I'm saying.
Freddy was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I said Friday the 13th.
No,
That's
that's
not.
no Friday the 13th is Jason Voorhees.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. My bad. That's what I meant to say. Nightmare on Elm Street. I was thinking about Freddy versus Jason.
Dude, that's a good movie, by
That's
the
what
way.
I'm saying. That was actually a pretty good movie.
Oh, yeah,
Go ahead and
it
check that out too, by the way.
I got some bomb movies, first of all, for Halloween. First of all, you just got to go with the classics on Halloween. You got to go with Hocus Pocus. I don't care how dumb that is. And then Hubie Halloween, the new one on Netflix, Adam Sandler one, is actually pretty funny. Check that out. But if you want to go with legit actual scary movies, I was never a big scary movie guy. I was never a big scary show guy because I was always like, the one emotion that those movies brings out is fear and being scared, and those are 2 emotions that I fucking hate. Like, those are just shitty emotions. Why would I want to be scared? But Lindsay's been getting me onto them lately, and I love them. Like, the Haunting of Hill House is a fantastic series. If you haven't watched that yet on Netflix, it's amazing. I haven't watched Haunting of Bly Manor yet, but
Yeah, I did like
Haunting of Hill House.
Hill House
Is very
is good.
scary, and it's got like a real emotional, like, oh shit, like kind of stuff. But the Conjuring movies, that whole little atmosphere with the Conjuring and Annabelle and the Conjuring 2 and Conjuring 3 is coming out soon. Those movies are pretty goddamn scary because they're based on true events and like the haunting in Connecticut and stuff. And those ones are always good. They're good to watch if you want a nice, good scare. But yeah, anything that has to do with demons and possession, that just scares me because
Right.
I feel like that could at some point happen to me because I'm very vulnerably weak. And I just feel like, but I feel like I would also be like the worst person to be possessed. Like the demon would be in my body and he would be like, first of all, this guy's body sucks. Second of all, everything in his mind sucks. Okay, well, somebody call a goddamn priest and get me out of here. Somebody please. So I feel comfortable about that. But yeah, possession movies terrify me. Check out the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, my horror movie that I've been talking about is Kazam.
Have you seen
It's
Shack
Sam.
Act? Have you ever seen
No.
Shack Act? Is that where you were going with it?
Zing.
Scary.
No, that's a
It's from
terrible
Scary
joke.
Movie. It's one of the greatest jokes of all time.
Right.
My wife loves the scary movies. Obviously, it's something that she does. But she forced me to watch one a couple weeks ago, and it was actually great because I used to read the book when I was a kid, but I obviously didn't read it. I was just looking at the pictures.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen it yet. Is it that good?
I've seen it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah, the
I might
Guillermo
watch it
del
tonight.
Toro movie. I'm telling you
Yeah.
guys, if you haven't watched it yet, go watch it this weekend with your significant other, whatever have you. They're gonna enjoy it. They kind of make it almost like Stranger Things in a way, kind of a 80s based kind of show.
Yeah, that's
but
when
the
the books
premise
came out.
the premise is that this book is being written, and it's being written in real time as these things are going about in place. So it's a really, really cool thriller.
So it's kind of like what Goosebumps is about. It's the Goosebumps kids movies.
right.
That's what those are about.
But this one, it's
Jack-
warped. This stuff is
Well, yeah,
warped.
nah,
This,
this is-
it's crazy.
I mean, I remember those books back in the day. Those books were terrifying. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Just the covers alone. You would look at the cover alone, and you would be like, "I'm not reading that book. I'm sorry, I'm not reading that book." And another thing I wouldn't mess with is a Ouija board. So I'm not talking about a Mattel Ouija board. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like a Ouija board made from goat skin or human skin. If you do that, you're guaranteed to bring up some demon or a portal and get possessed. You're asking for it.
Yeah, and my wife right now, obviously is a Disney Channel kid. We all were, and so
Right.
Halloween Town has been
Yeah,
on
got
multiple
those
times.
Hocus Pocus.
And my wife is already complaining about Ghostbusters. She's like, Ghostbusters sucks. I'm like, no, what?
What? That's
No,
a classic.
Ghostbusters is tight. The new one sucks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
by
seriously.
the way, hey, remind me to send you guys in the group chat. Back when we used to live in Gettysburg, we went to one of the most haunted bridges in the United States. It's like a bridge where 4 Confederate soldiers who were they were spies and they're posing as Union soldiers. They were hung because they got caught. And so we were there. And of course, Lindsay's all tough and she's all brave. I'm such a pussy when it comes to this stuff. And so she's out there. She's on the bridge and she's like snapping pictures. And I'm like, you know what? This is dumb. I'm going back to the car. There's nothing out here. This isn't scary. Meanwhile, I'm like jogging back to the car, like have the lights on. So she's back there. She's taking pictures. We go back and we look at the pictures. And as we're looking at the pictures, we notice that there's like a little orb that's right here, and then it's like moving around and it's moving around, and then the final picture, I shit you not, it's like the orb is surrounded by some sort of fog, and when you double tap and zoom in on it, it looks like a guy's face in it, and it's like
No
right up where
way.
people would have been hung. I swear to God, I'll send them to you right after this.
Yeah,
Right where
man,
somebody
let me
would
know
have
that's
been hung.
at because my girl likes that kind of stuff. I
It's
might
in
take it.
Gettysburg. It's in Gettysburg. I'll
Alright.
send you all the information for it. It's not far. It's like an hour away.
And
But
that's that's a great segue, Reed, because our next topic was going to be like Halloween stories or memories, possibly ones that freaked us out or were funny. Mine is not spooky like yours. Mine was like I was like 6 or 7 on Halloween, going door to door, dressed up as a little cowboy. I had my revolver, I had my cowboy hat and everything, my little flannel button up. I was fresh, dude. I was ready to go. We walked down this cul-de-sac, dude, and this dude opens his door in a gorilla suit. I dropped my candy bag and I hauled ass home. I was so scared. But the funny part about that is
It's been
like
Bigfoot.
it was like my family took like a recording of it on video, and at the end of the video, you can see me come out the bathroom butt naked, and I'm like playing my wang like a guitar. I'm like, and my
What kind of home videos do you have?
dude, I was a weird kid, man. I was just living life, dude. Just went to the bathroom, came out, was like, "What's up?"
Dude,
Helicopter.
I have a similar one to that, not with like the dick thing, but like where I used
sure?
to when I was younger, there was a court that was right behind my house where like my older brother is 6 years older than me, and he has friends that were all within that range, and my mom would force him to take me up on the court with his friends and go play with them. I was always way younger than them. I'm like 6 years younger than them. And when they're 12 or when they're 13 and you're 7, that's like a pretty big difference. So they knew that I was terrified of the Freddy Krueger movies. And to get back to my house, I always had to go in first because I was the youngest. I had to walk through this dark path into my backyard, and I like would walk by a shed, and they would always, before I would left, they would be like, "Hey, F," because anybody that's known me my whole life, my family, they all call me F. And they would be like, "Hey, F, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you." And they would like sing it to me before it. And I'd be like, "Guys, stop. I'm not even that scared." And then I walked by and they had one of them hiding behind the shed with butter knives, 4 butter knives. And he just started going like this with them. And the butter knives were moving behind the shed. And I ran there and I shit you not, I like almost pissed my pants, turned around and ran. He chased me. I turned around, saw that it was Brandon, still was like, "Ah," and ran. And then I had to have them walk me home and beg me not to tell my parents.
That is hilarious.
Oh man,
You
that's
would be
funny.
freaked out by something that is ridiculous as that.
I'm telling you, I was always such a poon when it came to scary movies, and now I like them.
Yeah. All right, so let's
That's
move
funny.
on to I think a little exercise I think is going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk about some Washington football team players, and let's say we had a Halloween party. What you think that they would show up to the Halloween party as, based on how they play? Reed, I'll let you start off first with one.
Okay.
Don't rip them all off. Just one at a time. We'll
I'm
go
not.
back and
Yeah,
forth.
yeah. I'm going to start off with Ryan Kerrigan, and I'm going to go with Iron Man. I know that the Iron Man streak was broken as of recently, but Ryan Kerrigan, man, he's been so good for so long. He was just the definition of consistency. You know, he would show up to the party all decked out like Iron Man just because of the way he plays. But I also wanted to go with Shawn Michaels, HBK, the
Yeah.
Heartbreak Kid, just because of his touchdown celebration. But I feel like he doesn't have the long hair anymore, so it doesn't fit. If you saw the long hair, maybe. Now I'm going Iron Man, Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah, that's a great. I'm going to stick on defense. Montez Sweat. I think that he would show up as Jason Voorhees of Friday the 13th, Hall. And he would show up because when he shows up, he's huge. He just finds a way to get there, and he just destroys everyone in his path. I think Jason Voorhees would be great for Montez Sweat. I think he would fit that bill perfectly.
Well, since we're all doing defense, I'll go with my defensive one first, and I will go Deron Payne. And I think he would come as King Kong because the dude is literally just an ape in the middle. He's an animal. He just crushes things, everything in his path. He just destroys it, gets to the backfield. And when he gets a hold on you, he wraps you up, he's going to squeeze you to death just like King Kong.
Yeah,
Who'd you say?
That's a good
Deron
one.
Payne? No, that's a good
Deron
one.
Payne. That's a very good one. So my next three that I have listed are a little
No, just
bit-
one,
a
just
little
one,
bit
Dick.
goofy. No, I know. I'm not going to go through them.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
letting you guys know ahead of time. All right. So my next one, I'm going to go with Cole Holcomb. And Cole Holcomb, I'm going to have as
Joe Dirt.
a mixture of Joe Dirt and Will Compton. And here's why. Joe Dirt, obviously, because of the mullet, but Will Compton, because Cole Holcomb just reminds me of Will Compton. He's a better player than Will Compton, but he seems like the bro, the cool type guy. Like he's just somebody who
Yeah.
I could see having a podcast down the line with somebody with one of these offensive tackles on a bus, and they're just talking about the boys, and it blows up. Cole Holcomb would be Will Compton and Joe Dirt's kid.
I like that. My next one is going to be Tress
I
Way. Tress Way. I believe Tress Way would show up as Chris Kyle or as just like a military sniper. The dude just being able to pinpoint the football on the yard, right up in the end zone, and being able to pinpoint offenses all the way back into their end zone. I think that would be a perfect for Tress Way.
I'm going to go Kyle Allen. I think he'll show up as Two-Face, like the villain from Batman. Because you never know what you're going to get. You know, you flip a coin just like Two-Face does. It lands on heads. You might get some good play out of Kyle Allen. Lands on tails. You might get some bad play out of Kyle Allen. It might be the good face, might be the bad face. So, yeah, I'm going to go Kyle Allen. I mean, last week we had good Kyle Allen. Hopefully coming out of week 9, I mean, we'll have good Kyle Allen again. But you never know. He's Two-Face.
Yeah. Right. All right. And sticking with the quarterback position, I'm going to be going Dwayne Haskins here. And I'm going to say Dwayne Haskins would be Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone because he always looks lost. That and because he's the forgotten about guy. Forgotten. People just forget about him. Just leave him. Leave him at home. Leave him at home. Don't let him come to the big game. Leave him at home. Forget about him. Push him to the side. He's gone. That's Dwayne Haskins.
All right, let's keep it. I'm gonna go Morgan Moses, and I think Morgan Moses would come dressed up as Wolverine. Just seems to be not just heal off everything. Nothing can injure him. He cannot be injured. I think Wolverine would be a great one for Morgan.
Well, I just thought it was off the fly, and it's kind of like funny / messed up, but I mean it in the best way because I'm going to make it in the best way. Alex Smith, he's going to come as Terminator because my man is full of, like, he got metal behind him, you know what I'm saying?
Or RoboCop.
Or Oscar
RoboCop.
Pistorius.
But not seriously, though. Like, I mean, you can't destroy – you can't –
He's not going to kill his wife.
Why do you have
with
to
the
do
leg.
that? Why do you
Because
have
it's
to do
funny.
that?
Because it's funny.
No, seriously though, like Terminator, he just like ghosts or anything. I mean, Alex Smith like should have died, but he came back just like Terminator always comes back. Got on the field again, and he was supposed to come back and save the day, but he didn't. So
Yeah, hey, that's a very good one. My next one I think is a very good one. This is my final one. I'm gonna go with Ron Rivera. Riverboat Ron. Riverboat Ron is gonna dress up as Tim Donaghy, the NBA ref that gambled away the games because Ron Rivera loves to gamble, not off the field, but on the field. He likes to go for two when he could just tie the game up. He likes to gamble on fourth downs. He's not fixing these games, but I'm going to go with Tim Donaghy for Ron Rivera.
That's such a good one, man. That's such a good one. For Terry McLaurin, I have John Wick. It just seems like it doesn't matter what the defense has in store for him. He just doesn't matter what they throw at him. He's killing everybody. He has one mission alone. I think John Wick is a perfect one for Terry McLaurin.
I just thought of one. It's not really like, man, but it's all right. I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson. I think he would come as the Thing from Fantastic Four. I mean, my man is kind of built like The Rock, like a big old boulder rock like the Thing. You saw this past week against Dallas, like he got in the pile, just kept moving his legs, extra 3-4 yards, kind of like the Thing, just hop on the back, roll with me, guys. Like, so
there you go. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
I think that's a very good one. Yeah. Are we going to keep going with this?
I have one more, and that's Kendall Fuller.
Okay, you have one more.
And Kendall Fuller would show up as Spider-Man just because he just keeps making plays. It seems like every time a quarterback throws a football, poof, just shoots the web up, snatches it out of the air, and brings it home. I think Spider-Man would be perfect.
I got one more, too. I'm going to go with Steven Sims Jr., and I'm going to go with he should be a juggler because every time he touches the ball, it's always bobbling all over the place.
Yeah, always, dude.
zing!
Right. All right, everybody. So let's finish out this episode with Reed's trivia. So Reed says he's the trivia king. He knows exactly what he's doing. So it's going to be Hall and I having to answer these trivia questions to finish the episode. And they're NFL based. So let's get this started, Reed.
Okay, all right. So some of these, recently there was a quiz that I took on CBS Sports. It's on there. I don't know if you guys have taken this one, but it was pretty tough. Some of them were pretty tough. I got a couple of them from there, then a couple of them that I had known. So we're going to start off with number one, and this is about one of our most hated teams, the Dallas Cowboys. How many Super Bowl appearances do the Dallas Cowboys have? Appearances, not titles, just overall appearances.
And it's Super Bowls, not championships, Super Bowls.
Yes. Super Bowl appearances.
Is it?
I'm gonna go
6?
with
Semi-close.
Let's see. They've been to. It's not 8. I'll go 7.
Oh, you almost
Is it
said
8?
It is 8.
I was like, I couldn't.
That was Cowboys.
Let's see. They won 5. Who
I
did they
said,
lose
yeah.
to?
I would have to go. I gotta go look.
Yeah, like that's what the whole thing I was thinking. I was like, who did they lose to? Like, man, I remember like the Cowboys.
I was like, I knew they lost.
Yeah,
I was like, I
lost
can
to the
remember.
Steelers.
I knew the Steelers was one, and I was trying to think of the second one. That's why I was like, maybe it's 7. I just can't think of the second one they lost to.
That was a good one.
All right, so
That was.
how many NFL franchises have birds as their mascot?
I think I know this one. I think it's like over half.
4.
Like
As their mascot.
Yeah. I think it's. I don't know why, but no, I'm gonna go 14.
Does it count as a logo on the helmet?
14?
Does it count on the logo on the helmet?
Okay, hold on. Here, let me do this. So mascot just means like they're named after.
Okay.
So do you think of mascot as like something on the sidelines? No. We'll just go. How many NFL teams are named after a type of bird?
I'll go 4.
Okay, 4.
7.
And what are you saying, Kyle?
7.
7. Okay, no, the correct answer is 5. There are 5 teams. There's the Eagles.
Eagles, I forgot.
Eagles, Ravens, Falcons, Cardinals, and Seahawks.
That's so bad that I forgot the Eagles and they're in our division.
Yeah, when I did it, I forgot the Ravens. So, all right. So here we go. Here's another one. This one you guys may know. Which NFL team has both won and lost a Super Bowl to Tom Brady? There's only one team that has done this.
Giants?
Oh man.
No.
Giants? You're going Giants?
No,
okay.
no. My fault. It's not the Giants. I think I know who it is.
Won and lost a Super Bowl to Tom Brady.
Seahawks?
Oh, I do know what it is.
Seahawks? Is that what you're going with, Kyle?
I'll go with the Rams.
Rams and Seahawks? Is that what you guys go with? No, the correct answer is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, man. Oh, you're right. With Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens.
Oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah, we had a broken ankle.
T.O. played with the broken leg or whatever right after that.
That's throwback.
All right, here's
That's a
another
great
one. All right,
question.
who is the career record
would.
holder for touchdown receptions by a tight end?
Tony Gonzalez.
You're going Tony Gonzalez. Okay. Hall, who are you going with?
I'm pretty sure it's Tony Gonzalez, so I'll go Tony Gonzalez.
Okay, you guys are both wrong. The answer is Antonio Gates.
Oh, why didn't I know that?
Tony
Damn it.
Gonzalez literally holds just about every other record.
I
That's what I would
know.
have chosen
Yeah,
too. But yeah,
yeah.
the correct answer is Antonio Gates.
Everyone
That
forgets
one's
about
hard.
Antonio Gates.
Yeah, Antonio, exactly. He played for so long too. But
Yeah.
all right, and this is the final question. You guys may know this one, but all right, who was Brett Favre's first career completion as a Green Bay Packer to? Who did he complete his first pass to?
Ooh. It was it's
Only because I don't know. I'm just gonna guess and say Sterling Sharp.
Yeah,
because he's the only person.
Sterling Sharp.
okay.
But it's probably not him.
Was
probably
it
some
was
random
it
wide
Donald
receiver.
Driver?
No,
It's probably some random white receiver, isn't it?
It's a white guy.
Oh,
It's
man.
Brett Favre. Brett Favre completed
Oh,
the pass to
yeah.
himself. He threw it,
Really?
it bounced off of a helmet, and
Yeah.
he caught it and ran for a yard.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but then
crazy.
his first completion to another player was Sterling Sharp. So Hall,
Yeah.
you're very close because that was literally, I think, the very next play.
I was
Right.
gonna
But,
go. I was
so-
gonna go with Sterling Sharp. Like that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
But I feel like that was too easy. But I was like, that's the only person I can think of from back then.
Right.
So
Yeah, right. But yeah, the correct answer is Brett Favre. That's an odd one. You type it into Google, it will technically say his first completion to another player was Sterling Sharp, but you look it up, his first stat is listed as a completion. It was to himself because he
that's
he
crazy.
caught it. Yeah, so that's that.
That was a great trivia segment.
Yeah, it
Reed.
was.
I told
actually
you, young trivia god, young trivia king.
Dude, you do
I'm
a
like a
great job.
Snapple bottle.
Right, you do a great job at that. Now let's finish up this episode briefly. Anything in particular this weekend that you are looking forward to, NFL or Washington based?
I'm really just hoping that the games this week are as good as they were last week. It seemed like every game last week came down to the wire, except for ours because we dominated. But even Monday Night Football, Monday Night Football was it was so entertaining. That when you watched NFL Red Zone, it was just for like all the 1 o'clock games. I was like, all right, now the Steelers have the ball. The Steelers are inside the the Titans missed it. No, every single game it seemed like was going into somewhere. But I'm looking forward to seeing Tua Tagovailoa. I'm looking forward to see how he looks because there is a reason Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing good. I know he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but and Tua's your future, but he was playing pretty good. But those coaches, Brian Flores has made some great decisions. That guy's a fantastic coach.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that Tua's ready. He sees him every day in practice. He's literally said Tua is ready to play. Like this guy, it's gotten to the point where you can't sit him anymore, I guess, because he's been playing so well in practice. So I'm excited to see what he does. And I'm wondering if that's going to help out Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, and Preston Williams stock as fantasy players.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Brian Flores deserves a lot of credit for the turnaround there in Miami. He is a phenomenal coach. For mine, I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth here because I kind of forgot. But I'm going to tell you right now, the one game in particular I'm really looking forward to is the Steelers versus Ravens. I feel like that is two juggernauts that are really going to do well. But you guys, I do the film breakdowns. I did it before the draft, pre-draft. And the one running back that I really enjoyed watching film on was JaMychal Hasty. And he's having the opportunity to really carry the load this weekend against a tough defense for the San Francisco 49ers against the Seahawks, who I think are 4th ranked against or 5th ranked against running back so far this season. But I feel like JaMychal Hasty could have a very good game in one of those situations where he just takes the opportunity because I do think he's that talented. And from what I'm hearing around the beat reporters, that they really like him in San Francisco.
Yeah, you kind of took the two I was going to go based off of the two rivalry games the big rivalry games this week was Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I saw on Twitter that Chris Mortensen said that this game used to come with a TVMA warning sign on it, like this is for mature audiences because these were the slobber knocker defensive battles, just knock your head off type games from back in the day. Obviously, the Steelers are kind of getting back to that type of defense. The Ravens are a great defense. They're not this slobber knocker, knock your head off type defense like it was. I think this will be it's not going to be like an offensive battle like it has been over these past couple of years. I think it's going to go back to that defensive kind of low scoring games. And then obviously Seahawks, 49ers, big rivalry NFC West. These games are always crazy with Russell Wilson and name your 49ers quarterback because there's been so many the past couple of years. But I think that's just going to be one of those high-scoring, high offensive games. Seattle's defense is poop. George Kittle usually dominates them. So look for Russell Wilson to – I want to see what he does. He had a horrible game this past week, 3 interceptions. So I'm looking to see what he does in a bounce-back game against, again, like I said, one of the NFC West rivalries in the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do wholeheartedly believe that. Now, we all failed, by the way, because I just remembered something. With the costume segment that we had, we forgot one glaring person. Jack Del Rio.
Would it be Donald Trump?
Yeah.
That would be tremendous.
That would be tremendous. But then I don't think – did we say Chase Young as well?
No, because it's like Hall
It's so
said,
obvious.
It's so obvious he would be the Predator, or he could go as a better Jadeveon Clowney. But I don't know.
Oh no, that's messed up. But real quick, did you guys catch the quote from Ron Rivera? He talked to somebody in the press recently about Ryan Kerrigan, and do you guys remember what he said?
Was he just talking about how they're not what he means to the team and how they're not going to trade him?
Yeah, well, essentially that like the position that he's been put in as the veteran who's not getting a lot of time, but the time that he does get, he has to take full advantage of it. And Ron Rivera said he's done that tenfold. And he's been a consummate pro. He's been a leader for Montez Sweat and Chase Young because like, oh, okay, this guy, he just wants to win. He doesn't care about if he's on the field all the time, but when he is on the field, he's doing well. And I thought that was very telling by Ron because everyone keeps talking about Ryan Kerrigan being possibly on the trade block. I just don't see it happening based on those quotes.
I feel bad, man, because I feel like we're starting to turn the corner and we're finally going to turn things around and maybe like hopefully start winning games, competing for like titles in the East and like hopefully like playoffs and bursts and stuff like that. And it looks like Ryan Kerrigan is probably not going to be here next year. So, damn, man, I'm so sorry we wasted your career.
It is sad. You feel bad for the guy, but he's been
I know, I'm just joking, but seriously though, I feel bad because it's kind of like he's done all the right things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Also, did you guys see the what PFF put out about Kendall Fuller?
Oh yeah, he is a 9.3 pass rating against him.
Passer rating allowed. The next closest is Jason Verrett with a 23.2. So he's tied for the league lead in interceptions with Xavier Howard with 4. Xavier Howard is allowing the 4th lowest rating with a 49.0. So Kendall Fuller almost has is allowing 40 points less every time he starts QBR. Like that's just crazy to me. Yeah, Kendall Fuller is playing at an all-pro level. Yeah, he's not getting the recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, not only is he, making plays and getting interceptions, having sticky hands, but he's strapping up wide receivers, obviously. The quarterbacks can't throw the ball to the wide receivers. He's playing it's strap city right now for Kendall Fuller.
Yeah, he shouldn't put on a Spider-Man costume. He should put on his best primetime Deion Sanders costume right now because he's out there strapping.
Yeah,
right.
He is.
You're not lying.
Strapped.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this HalloTeam episode. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And Chris Cooley should dress up as Larry Michael for Halloween.
You
didn't want me to say it, but I said it.
No, I thought we were going to skip that one, dude. Come on.
Hey, no, but
in all honesty, though, Dan Snyder would dress up as RG3.
Or he would dress up as Joe Paterno because he was turning a blind eye to everything that was going on.
Oh, damn. Zing.
Oh,
the zing.
The ultimate
We're
zing.
never getting sponsored. I'm sorry.
No.
I was just gonna say he's gonna dress up as like DMX or something, but you beat me on that one.
Well done, everybody. All
remember
right,
that picture? Remember that picture your Kyle always showed me with the Timbs on and like he literally looks like DMX, but like Dan Snyder.
He produced his videos back in the day. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. Again, you can like and share us on Facebook, Twitter. You can find us at The Burgundy Zone. Where can the folks find you too?
You can find me at TBZ Money Mike 301.
And you can catch me at Mike Reed 2156, aka Old Dad.
AKA Old Dad. And everybody, make sure you check us out on Sunday. We're having another joint pod with the HTWR podcast. We're also meeting up with Josh Taylor of the Burgundy Network podcast for a joint halfway through the season meetup. So make sure you check us out on Sunday. I know there's no Washington football team game, but we're going to have a great episode for you to listen to while you're watching all the other trash games. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Washington football.